Blake. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's that? I guess nobody knows what your name is based upon the last video. I didn't say it enough. Maybe in this video we'll have to refer to him as Blake from now on, since nobody knows what his name was in the last one. In the last video, you guys seen us go to the junkyard and pull this 5 liter out of the junkyard, and we got this 5-speed transmission, which this is out of the V6 F-150, which we got really, really lucky. Like, this is actually kind of a rare combination to find. Behind that, and it's 2-wheel drive manual, this thing should bolt up and line up and do everything perfect in the Ranger as far as I know. I ordered a clutch for it last night. We're gonna go to O'Reilly's, grab a flywheel here in a bit. John, over the weekend on Saturday when we were pulling the transmission in that, he actually went down to New Mexico, and I think this was either a Facebook Marketplace deal or a Craigslist deal. And this is actually a 5.3 liter LS. You can see cast iron block, aluminum heads, typical LS things. And then this thing right here, 4L60E. So I don't know how many neutrals this thing has installed on it already, if it just has 1 or if it has 2 or 3. But I was looking around his engine a little bit this morning, and I'm a little bit concerned for him. So I looked at the throttle blade right here, and I seen a little bit of like dirt right there, and I opened it. You can hear that like crunch. That's some dirt. And looking right in the hole on the inside of it, if I can get this to focus in there, it's like mud, which I know they pressure washed this thing for sure. So maybe they were pressure washing it and blasted like the dirt up into this hole, because it doesn't have anything in that little thing. But it has red bolts, it has MSD wires, and then the transmission was painted red at one point, which is kind of concerning. This color's fine, but a red transmission, it's kind of a weird deal. I don't really like that. So I hope that this engine is good for their sake. And over here we got engine wiring harness ready to go. Since this thing was bolted up to the V6, like the tranny holes were a little bit smaller. I don't know why. So we're just drilling the bolt holes a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna run to O'Reilly's real quick, grab a flywheel, see if that thing bolts in. And then pretty much we just need to pull out this 2.5 liter right here. The cylinder head is already off of it, and the engine mounts, literally everything should bolt up. So we're gonna focus on getting this engine out of here. We're gonna do a test mock-up since it's gonna be a couple days for our transmission to show, or our clutch to show up. I kinda wanna bolt it in there, see how everything's looking, take the AC compressor off, take the fan clutch and everything off. But I think we're doing great. Blake's just drilling some holes. You like drilling the holes? Mm-hmm. Oh. Engine is out of the Ranger, and it is for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And I just got off the phone. I sent my cat guy a picture of the catalytic converter off this thing. He said between 240 bucks and 320 bucks. So should be getting some money back, hopefully. If I could sell this thing before the end of the challenge, then we might have some money to do some cool stuff. But just went to the O'Reilly's and picked up a new flywheel. So Blake, the weight needs to go right here. So just flip it around, and then you'll see that weight right there on the back.
It was on the top, or what?
Yeah, it's right here. So see that? This is where that big weight needs to go, is just in this zone right there.
Fan clutch?
Fan clutch tool. You only have a little bit of dirt in the intake manifold, but that's fine. You know, hey, a little bit of dirt never hurt nobody. So yeah, flywheel's going on. We're basically throwing the flywheel on here just to test and see what starter we actually need. Supposedly you need to swap starters, get like a 5 liter starter out of like a 95 F250 with the 5 liter in it. And that's basically what this clutch is. That's what the flywheel is, and then that's what the clutch is gonna be, because that has the same tranny. Lots of weird little things that I kind of found out about this swap. We're gonna get it in there, and we're gonna bolt it together. Well, these guys I don't even know what they're gonna be doing today. While this thing's up and running, they're just gonna be over there swapping valve springs and doing all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, you're looking at our valve train. You said it was rusty.
Yeah, it looks great. Well, it is a little rusty. Good thing you're gonna replace it with some springs and stuff. Go ahead, Blake. Go ahead. we thought it was gonna be a great idea to try and test fit this thing. As you can tell, we're not having a great time. Right up against the firewall in the back, and then the oil pan is right in the way in the front. So it's almost like we just either need to pull out this radiator support, or we just need to set the engine in here by itself and then hook the tranny up to it, just because of how freaking tight this is gonna be. I know it's gonna be really tight to try and hook up the tranny in there with like the tranny bolts and everything, but man, I don't know. This just doesn't seem like it's gonna be too nice, because the other issue, well, maybe honestly, if we took off the shifter housing on the top, it would probably go in, because right now, the top of the shifter is what's keeping it from tilting back. So right here, this piece, we're having issues with that. If we pulled that off of this tranny, because you can see down there, hope you can see down there, that's what's kind of hitting. So we're not able to lift up the tranny to level out the engine to be able to kind of, you know, kind of what we do in these situations. We kind of like go and then like kind of shoehorn it in there. But yeah, I guess out she comes. Move the transmission off of here and just set it in like that, and then we're gonna see if how the engine mounts and everything are doing. Just since technically I think I'm supposed to have some other engine mounts, but I cut these ones, so these ones may work. I hope they work so we don't have to wait and do that. But since the transmission's off, it should go right in. If it doesn't, if it's a pain in the butt to get to the bolts, we're gonna probably just take out this radiator support, make it like a removable one, to where we could actually kind of get in and out of here, because it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun, Blake. Guys, so down here we have the engine mount. So this is the factory one out of the Explorer, and pretty much right here is how it was. It had two slots kind of offset, so I went ahead and hogged those out, just assuming where they were gonna be. Once we set the engine in the actual chassis, it was wrong. So what we had to do was go ahead and cut this off. This was right in the way of the power steering, and so then the motor mount slots actually go further back right here. So I went ahead and cut that out, and then we need a little bit of a spacer. So I'm going to use these as little spacers. I'm going to put some nuts or some bolts up from the bottom, and then this should be kind of a Trevi's Customs engine mount. They do make swap mounts for the Rangers to like that kind of do this already, but we didn't order them. Tuesday, and we have to race next Wednesday, and I would rather spend my time, I'd rather spend an hour or so doing this than wait until like Monday or so until the other mounts showed up. So we're gonna get these things bolted up and see if it actually fits. All right, so you guys took a page out of my playbook and actually did it a little bit better than me, because you actually sold your engine.
Yeah, we're selling.
So you guys, 200 bucks?
200 bucks.
200 bucks selling this.
So that goes back into our budget.
To a fellow Ranger guy.
Ranger.
So it's leaving the shop. So I guess you guys have a little bit of budget. Blake, we need to sell ours, I guess. Maybe we need to lower the price.
This is a cam right here.
Yeah.
This is a cam for our motor.
Single cam?
We're doing great.
Single cam?
Yeah.
Single cam? All right, well. Back to working on ours. So the engine is sitting in there. Blake ran to Big R to grab some new bolts. But looking underneath it right here, you can see what I'm talking about with those mounts. How many of you guys have a little Motion Auto pin light? Works great. But yeah, so you can see right there, the motor mount needs to, basically the plate needs to come down a little bit off of the engine right there. So we're gonna go ahead and use those spacers, but getting close over here. I think I need to trim off the edge of that motor mount over there. I think it's kind of hanging on the lip, but otherwise I think it's looking okay. We might be doing great. So just need to wait for some more spacers to come back. We'll see if we can get this thing officially bolted. See, we got the clutch line and everything. Have plenty of space for the starter. It's probably not going to be very much fun to do the bell housing, but I guess we'll get that figured out later. Alright guys, so we got some spacer washers in here. We got some longer bolts, Got this thing mount all cut out, so we should be good. Moving over to the passenger side, I went ahead and cut off this front edge right there. You guys can see that right there. I know it's not the brightest thing in the world, but yeah, should be good. We're gonna lower it down and see if it works. Well, I guess the other thing that we have to do is hook up the transmission to this thing so that's the way the starter works. So that way we can see if this thing will actually start and run under its own power. So the other interesting thing is on the Ranger, or on the Explorer, it had like a starter solenoid, whereas I'm not sure about this, if this thing has a starter solenoid on it or not. Okay guys, so I think I successfully just wired this engine swap. So plugged in that harness. This right here on this side, since this is the 97 engine harness for the Explorer, this is technically a ground. You can see the black with the white stripe. So I grounded it on the chassis right here. But on the Ranger harness, since it's a 99, it's a yellow plug, or a yellow wire right there. And that actually comes over here to the alternator. So that's the alternator sense wire. And this thing has its own harness. So pretty much what I'll do is take this wire, unloom it, run it back up, and plug it into right here, or maybe deloom that or connect them over here somewhere. But I think that's pretty much it. It's plugged in. We have the fuel and everything hooked up, fuel return. Now, just basically have to put the transmission in it and see if we can get it to, see if it'll actually crank over and do some stuff, which I'm really curious about. All right, well, these guys are still over here trying to figure out how they're gonna mount their LS and making motor mounts and custom fabricating,
Figure out how you gotta
all kinds of stuff.
come over the 100 horsepower.
I'm literally getting ready to start this thing. So engine is in, it's on the mounts, transmission's in, it's bolted up, starter is in, it's bolted up, training cross member is in. Need a little bit of a height difference, so we got a piece of wood in there. Drive shaft bolts right up, buddy.
Yeah, the only thing you have left is to pull 100 horsepower out of your ass.
I got some ideas for that. So we're gonna lower it down, hook up the fuel line, throw a battery in it real quick.
How's our suspension doing though?
I mean, that only took you like
How your
2.5
lift's doing?
hours. You know? I had a dirty bolt in my mouth. The battery is hooked up, wiring is hooked up, transmission, it's all hooked up. So Chris,
It's hooked up.
battery's almost dead. All right, we're gonna hop in here. We got a door dinger. Let's see if we got headlights. Ooh, we got headlights out there. Oh, we got a horn. Okay, key on, nothing happens. Nothing in the dash. Crank it, nothing. We got nothing. Blake, we have nothing. It ain't plug and play, I guess. It ain't working. I wonder if it's like a ground or something. I have the engine grounded, but I don't know. I wonder if it's not getting power somewhere. Hey, thanks, buddy.
Man, I told you a few videos, in the very first video we did for this, I told you, I said, hey, I stole a fuse out of here.
Yeah, the main one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, let's open the door. See what happens. See if dash lights turn on. Oh, no dash lights. Oh!
Crank it. Hey, yeah, we want to hear it crank.
So, it doesn't crank. It doesn't crank.
That sucks, buddy.
Well, when I do hit to crank it, the brake light.
may not have to take a few other things out too.
Did you?
What? Huh?
The brake light turns on
When
I crank it.
I think
look.
Yeah, your wiring might be doing great.
Check gauge.
Jump off.
Oh yeah, how's the
batteries are doing great. You can hear the starter at least click. Everything's turned on.
Yeah.
How does the tunes work though?
Oh, the tunes are pretty bumping.
You still have some music to listen to when you're sad.
Not sure exactly why it's not cranking or doing anything like that, but we'll come back over here tomorrow, see, because it's about 6 o'clock, unloading some motor mounts, pretty much done for the day. So maybe it has something to do with this wiring up here. Maybe I have that thing grounded wrong, or maybe this thing needs grounded. Maybe this thing doesn't have a good ground, but we'll figure it out, and hopefully it runs tomorrow. All right, Blake, day 2, nothing but the best. That Super Tech for the old 5-liter. Just messing with a little bit of the wiring. I don't know why. I think I have these wires right there for the neutral safety switch, but coming right here. Blake, should we just start it now? Should we just go ahead? It sounds great. Sounds great, right? Should we turn the key on and see what it So, yeah, I don't hear a fuel pump either, but.
Turn it again.
Uh-oh, I wasn't expecting that. Blake!
Oh,
Buddy, look at that. Blake didn't even have the oil all the way in it yet, and it was freaking running. Oh, hey, how are you guys doing over here?
that's what the 5.0s are used to. We're doing great.
How are you guys doing?
Hey, don't mind us over here.
Don't mind you. You just have to wire up your stuff, make engine mounts, make custom drive shaft, do all kinds of things and stuff, and we're just over here. We're just gonna hook up the AC.
You forgot.
I gotta get on the internet and download a classical music playlist for when we're driving around the road course. How many cans of Freon do you think we need for the AC? Maybe 3? Yeah. 3 cans for the Freon?
Coming out of your budget.
Wow, that thing fired right up. Should we fire it up again? Let's do it again. I think it was okay. I think it was fine. Let's do it again. Let's just give it. Let's give her. Oh, we'll hook up this vacuum thing right here so it doesn't have a giant vacuum leak. Because it was idling really high. Okay. Check this out. Ready, Blake? Open head, yeah. There could be some clutch, so I don't know what it could be, but it sounds good. All right. How we doing? All right, guys, so this thing runs, doesn't drive. We still need to put the clutch and all that stuff in it. And I just basically wanted to test the theory that this thing plugs in and starts up. So did not get it to start off of the key. Not 100% sure. I was asking around on one of the forums, and one of the guys said that he pretty much just had to put a push button start in there, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do too, because most of the people that swap these, they do an automatic, not a manual. I don't know, I'd rather just put a push button in it and have it start and go from there. We need to get a power steering line, we need to get a longer throttle cable, and put in a radiator, figure out an E-fan, and we should be able, and put the clutch in it. But I think before we do that, I want to pull this thing out, maybe put a drain for a turbo, because that is the plan for this thing. I have a turbo on the way. So, yeah, everything looks good. You can see it looks like it was almost meant to be in there from the factory. Once we hook up like the air box and stuff, it's going to be hilarious. And then if you look right here on the inside, that's actually the shifter position. So the shifter is just right in basically the perfect spot. So exactly where it was from the factory. Need to figure out some of the clutch line stuff, because it's kind of an interesting thing right there. But overall, it runs, and all I gotta say is we're a hell of a lot further ahead than the boys over here, right, Sean? How much work do you guys have left to do?
A little bit.
Just a little bit of work.
Yeah, just a few things here and there.
So be a video out on Sean's engine swap here in probably a day or so, but 5-liter runs, plug and play almost, other than it being a manual, but drive shaft plugs in. We need to do the 488 rear, but that'll probably be one of the next videos. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you later.